Melissa Ohden, an abortion attempt survivor, has found her voice and speaking up for the voiceless. Her witness of having survived a saline abortion is proving to be a powerful response to increasingly extreme abortion laws. So much so, she's now in the forefront of the pro-life movement, even taking to the 2020 March for Life rally stage just last week. We sat down with Ohden one day before the rally to hear the latest on her journey for this week's Pro-Life Focus. Melissa Ohden, it's a joy to see you again.
You as always.
Thanks for taking the time to be with us. And we are speaking just hours after news broke that President Donald Trump will be the first sitting president to attend the March for Life. We're less than 24 hours from that taking place, and you are also going to be on that rally stage at the March for Life. I know you've met the president before in the White House. First off, I just want to get your reaction to this news.
I feel like I can't control my face right now, even hearing you talk about it. It is humbling to know that I will be there when the first president in history will be taking the stage, and to be a part of that. I mean, no one but God. Think back to how 2019 started, right? With all of that aggressive abortion legislation and all of the concerns we had. And I mean, to me, this just gives me hope to know that in the midst of whatever happens, God's will is being done.
Melissa, from my perspective, you mentioned 2019. It seemed like 2019 was an incredibly busy year for you, and I'm sure it was because of the news that we saw very early on. And it seems that really picked up after Virginia Governor Ralph Northam made those comments that sounded like a defense of infanticide. And I want to kind of go back to those comments. Northam, who himself is a pediatric neurosurgeon, told a Washington radio station, quote, "The infant would be delivered, the infant would be kept comfortable, the infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired, and then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother." Melissa, again, as an abortion attempt survivor yourself, what was your reaction upon hearing that?
Horrified, disgusted, to be perfectly honest. And to me personally, it brought back all those words my parents had been told years ago. You know, my adoptive parents had been told I had been laid aside. And, you know, way back when the Washington Post was saying, well, you know, you can't prove that. Governor Northam just spoke the words that my parents heard 42 years ago. To me, that's pretty big proof. And we hear those words echoed throughout history for other abortion survivors. You know, I think we can credit Governor Northam and others in his party who have actually made our job a little bit easier on the life issue, right? They are letting honesty seep out whether they want to or not.
When you share your story, Melissa, what kind of reaction do you get from people? I mean, do people know that there are abortion attempt survivors such as yourself, and I imagine a growing amount given that these abortions are happening later and later on in pregnancies?
Yeah, you're so right. The later we see that line being pushed for abortion, the more the likelihood is going to be that a survivor like me comes into this world, which to me indicates why we need born alive legislation so much more now than we did ever before. And I think people are starting to know. Through the Abortion Survivors Network, we've been connected with over 300 abortion survivors now. We're now an affiliate of Pro-Love Ministries, which is part of Abby Johnson and her team's work. And so people are going to see more and more survivors, hear our stories. We're unveiling a huge media project that's called Face the Choice that is going to allow people to come face to face with what our world has called a choice for far too long. We know every human being is more than a choice.
Melissa, when we first sat down together 3 years ago now, you had just recently met your birth mother for the first time. Catch us up to speed. What is that relationship like today?
Amazing. She's a huge part of my life. When I released my book, initially, there was one big detail about her life that we didn't share, and that is that my birth mother lives in the same city that I do. If people don't know my story, they can read about it in my book, You Carried Me, but I moved from one city where my birth father was living to then moving to Kansas City, where I didn't know that my birth mother lives, and so does one of my half-sisters. And back then, right, we were still wanting to protect her. And she is the one who had started to share that detail, and I'm so proud of her. She is bold and courageous and strong. People are going to see her very soon. I interviewed her earlier this year, talking about her experience, because it's just time. It's time that our culture hears the stories of women like me who survive abortions. It's time that they hear stories of women like my birth mother who were forced or coerced or regret their abortion. Our culture has buried our stories for too long. And so you're going to get to see Ruth very soon.
I'm so grateful for your voice and your witness. Melissa Ohden, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.